Chapter 30, The Divine Mercy Project, Spiritual Donation. As you walk with God, your faith will grow, your confidence will increase, and your prayers will have real power. Bill Hybels. On February 26, 2017, Dr. Priscilla Pizarro met with a horrific accident that almost cost her life. She had just entered Interstate 5 driving north in her Mercedes-Benz sedan in the National City area and had safely merged in the space between two semi-trucks when the rig in front of her decelerated and came to a sudden halt, catching her and the driver of the semi behind her off guard. The Mercedes was crushed like a tin can. An emergency crew had to extract her from her vehicle using a hydraulic rescue tool known as the jaws of life. Astonishingly, she emerged alive although injured. Looking at the wreck, Tony and his family could not believe that she survived the accident. Priscilla, delicate and petite, was already advanced in age and weak and suffering from several ailments. Therefore, her recovery astonished her doctors. An ordinary healthy person could not have made it, yet given the serious injuries that Priscilla sustained, she had survived. Priscilla is a very religious woman. Every morning, she would drive her car to hear Mass at her neighborhood parish, the Church of the Nativity. She was a fixture at the church, practicing the same religious traditions she was taught as a child growing up in Orion, Bataan. Tony believes that his wife's deep faith was the reason she was spared that fateful day. For months, Tony, like many of his generation who reads newspapers, had come across small ads about the proposed Divine Mercy Shrine being built in nearby Encinitas in the local Filipino-American weekly, the San Diego Asian Journal. Behind the project was a group of local Catholic devotees from various parishes in San Diego County. Organized as the Divine Mercy Hills Foundation of Southern California, a 501(c)(3) nonprofit, its aim is to build a Divine Mercy Shrine where people from all cultures and beliefs could have a place for prayer, peace, and contemplation. The project was inspired by a prompting experienced interiorly by its two founders, although at the time neither knew about the other person's call. To Zarina Cruz, the founder and organizer, it came as an interior voice from the Lord to build me a shrine as she knelt in adoration before the Blessed Sacrament in a chapel in El Cerrito in the Bay Area. Although she did not know it then, several hundred miles down in Encinitas, John Ertl, another founder and organizer, was also experiencing a similar epiphany. To John, it was the desire to purchase the 3.25-acre, bank-owned land on a rugged hill overlooking the ocean, for a Divine Mercy Shrine. It was only after John had opened escrow and no longer could contain his enthusiasm that he approached Zarina one morning after Holy Mass upon her return to San Diego 3 days later. Zarina, who had told no one about her private revelation, had asked for a sign from the Lord that his call was for real. She was about to find out. "Zarina, I want you to see this place." John took Zarina to the site and both climbed up to the top of the hill where a cross now stands, revealing a view of the Pacific Ocean. Would this not be the perfect site for a Divine Mercy Shrine? He asked. It was the sign she was asking for. With the two of one mind, the mission began. Because of the donations from generous donors, the land was fully paid off for $325,000 by August 22, 2019, during the Triduum of the Feast of the Queenship of Mary. Needless to say, the $72,000 cash raised and donated by Tony and Priscilla and their zeal for the mission, in addition to the donations from friends, were crucial to paying off the loan to purchase the land. But we are getting ahead of the story. Flashback to the small advertisements about the shrine in the San Diego Asian Journal. Every time I turn the page of the paper, I see the ad about Divine Mercy, Tony explained in a tone that sounded a bit like he was getting spammed by the Lord. He wanted more information. He called the telephone number in the paper and was glad to find out that one of the members of the board of directors is an old friend, Genevieve Silverio, the managing editor and wife of the publisher of the newspaper. "Sim, I want to speak to Jenny," he said. When Sim told his wife, she was skeptical. "Tony wants to talk to me? Doesn't he live in Rancho Santa Fe? Isn't he a successful businessman?" When they finally touched base, Tony explained what had happened to his wife and her miraculous recovery. Priscilla was bedridden after she was discharged from the hospital. Tony continued, for weeks, the only part of her body she could move were her eyes. Imagine his surprise therefore when one morning, when the bedridden Priscilla suddenly got up, unhooked the Divine Mercy image on the wall to take with her, and then prepared herself to attend the daily Mass at the local church. Tony attributed it to his answered prayers. It was the start of a relationship with the foundation for Tony and Priscilla, whose philanthropy for social causes now burned heavenward like incense for the mission. The couple eventually came to the mission and project presentation in Carlsbad one Saturday afternoon, the 50th anniversary of Tony's conscription to the U.S. Navy. Lost in the thought of how far in life he had come on that auspicious day, he eventually arrived to the meeting with his then newly recovered wife, in a low-slung Maserati. Tony was visibly overwhelmed by the flood of emotions over his wife's recovery, his rise from the lowliest ranks of the Navy to his meteoric ascent as a Department of Defense contractor mogul, and his physical discomfort of adjusting to the low-slung driver's seat of his brand-new toy which he eventually traded in for the staid, high-back driving posture of a Bentley. At the meeting, they listened to the testimonies of several people, sharing manifestations they attributed to the Divine Mercy. Tony and Priscilla were touched. The testimonies reminded them of their mission to help people, not only financially but more importantly spiritually. And supporting the Divine Mercy Hills Foundation, especially at this critical stage of its early years, is one the couple decided they must do. Towards the end of the meeting, Tony stood up and shared his own testimony of his wife miraculously surviving a near-fatal accident that would have taken her away from this life if not for the help of God. Right away, he pledged to donate $50,000. His advocacy continues to this day with his financial support, which he further augmented, and zeal for the mission. Indeed, the story of the Divine Mercy Hills Foundation of Southern California cannot be told without the intertwined story of Priscilla and Tony. The claim by the foundation that people's faith and love made the place a shrine is one that can be said of the entire Pizarro family and their faith. The 3.27-acre parcel of open land along Encinitas Boulevard, half a mile east of Interstate 5, and a few blocks from St. John the Evangelist Catholic Church is unique. The land climbs from the base of Encinitas Boulevard and ascends in a half-circle to the top of the hill in a dramatic sweep that opens to a panorama of the Pacific Ocean where the 20-foot cross now stands. A brochure being distributed by the foundation said that although undeveloped, this land has become a place of refuge and devotion where people continue to come and entrust themselves to the Divine Mercy. By definition, we call it a shrine today because it is where many Divine Mercy devotees come every day to spend quiet time in prayer and meditation, and the grounds where a throng gathers together every 13th of the month, calling to mind the appearance of Our Lady of Fatima, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., to pray the Rosary, say the Chaplet of the Divine Mercy, and walk the Stations of the Cross. We give glory and honor to God, unworthy as we are, for the testimonies offered by many who come to the grounds of manifestations, a vision, a miracle, a life-changing occurrence. Among the testimonies of healing is the story of how Priscilla managed, without pain or hesitation, to climb that hill in her post-operative condition caused by a crushed vertebrae, a few months after her car accident, on Holy Saturday in the heat of summer, along with 2 other octogenarians to listen and contemplate the words of the meditations of Holy Saturday from the pages of the Carmelite classic Divine Intimacy. To this day, Tony Pizarro continues to speak at the 13th of the month gathering to share his testimony and faith on occasion. This year he returned to describe another miracle, the recovery of Priscilla from a near-fatal pneumonia in the ICU of St. Luke's Hospital in Metro Manila during a visit to attend her younger brother's funeral in March of 2019. When it was time for the doctors to notify the family that her oxygen level was at 70% and to expect the worst, Tony and Wendy, with his grandson Tyler, rushed to St. Luke's Hospital to be with Priscilla and to give her a small token of hope that she can hold on to in her suffering. I gave her the Divine Mercy prayer book to read before I left her bedside, and she regained her strength, he said, motioning in the direction of his grandchild who was listening and sitting among the crowd of people. Today the landmark 20-foot cross on top of the hill, a life-size image of Divine Mercy, a grotto of Our Blessed Mother Mary hewn by hand on the side of a sandstone wall, and the 14 stations of the cross that trace its way through the tough terrain to the top of the hill where the large cross stands are the only features to be found, but not for long. With the land all paid off, the foundation is now in Phase 2, which is the building campaign. No doubt, Tony and Priscilla Pizarro will continue to become an integral part of the foundation, where he now serves as the Vice President of External Affairs. It is their own way of thanking God for the blessings they have received.